Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum, and this time we're up against Cursed, and this is a wacky game. Let's go. Alright, at the bottom here, I am playing as a Farseer Specialist. My opponent is playing as a Missile Specialist. Whenever you're up against missiles, you just need to be very mindful of not clumping your units together, especially a unit that can be one-shotted by the 3000 damage of the missile. So things like the Mustangs, the Phoenixes, the Crawlers, of course, all the chaff units, you don't want to clump them up. In this case, I think this is slightly clumpy in the sense that if you do a missile right here, you still catch most of these Crawlers, but I really didn't want my Crawlers to be too far away from my frontline units. I've decided to go with the very classic asymmetrical aggro with the Sabertooth and Arclight. Sabertooth themselves aren't exactly the best unit into sledgehammers if my opponent does decide to level up the sledges. So in the future, I might want to consider swapping out of the Sabertooth for something like a Scorpion if my opponent wants to go really hard into the sledgehammers. Alright, my Crawler is coming into the center. Something to be mindful of is whenever you're playing asymmetrical aggro, just always have something close to the middle. I've seen players that do asym like all the way in the corner. That's okay as long as you know what to do when your opponent's crawlers run towards your tower. So by having something in the middle, you have a greater chance of just pulling most of the crawlers towards the middle. There's not a very high likelihood, at least not in round one, for the players to put crawlers right here on the line. Usually they put them further back, so if you have units down here, the distance between the crawler and the tower, between the unit and the crawler is shorter than the distance between the tower and the crawler. Okay, so a decent round for the first one. Was not too bad. Round two, we got a few items. Elite Phoenix is too rich for round two, but improved fire control is actually not bad. So the plan is to take improved fire control. You're anticipating Phoenix in this round. Usually a good counter to Saber Arc start is just Phoenix. So that's my opponent did with the Phoenix. I'm trying to anticipating it with my Phoenix, and having the extra item is going to allow the Phoenix to one-shot the sledgehammers, which is not too bad. So the 70% increase pushes the Phoenix over to that break point. All right, the first missile is coming down, and this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. So you can still catch the crawler. So it's not that easy. And better way maybe just to put crawlers in between. But I usually want to have the split between the Sabertooths, so we'll have to see. So here's my Phoenix with the item. I did level up the tower because I didn't want to defend it at all. And here they are. They will have some crawlers coming in with quick teleport. But this round is pretty disastrous because of the crawler, and the Phoenix was able to pick off pretty much my entire front line, a single Sabertooth and 2 Arclights. Alright, round 3, we got our first unit drop. 4 Marksman is very enticing, but I don't think I need more damage on the ground. Having additional beef and also some damage in the air could be very tricky to deal with. We both have Phoenixes, but for me, this round, the Phoenix is probably going to get missiled. It's difficult to kind of move around unless you spend money on it. So you probably want to use a mobile beacon, and then mobile maybe like to the side. And I also had some problems with chaff clear, so we had crawlers coming in, right? So this turn, I've decided to kind of fix the problems all around. I've added more fangs, range on the Arclights so that they kind of stay further back. And I took the Phantom Rays. I did sell one of the Phantom Rays, however, because I was hoping the Phoenix itself will probably work a little better. But it doesn't matter. So I took the missile here. Idea is I am not expecting my opponent to add another layer of chaff clear, which means once this Arclight is done, I have superior chaff clear. I win the chaff war, and since all his big damage dealing units are on this side, if I have enough chaff units, I should be able to clear everything here. And that seems to be the case. So yes, I only have a single squad of Phantom Ray, but that Phantom Ray is going to kill everything here. The steel balls in the corner is super annoying because the level 2 tower is simply not enough. But I think, yeah, we're kind of getting the tower around the same time, which is great. Which means my Phantom Ray is going to clean everything up. And with no AA, I should be able to get this round. Sweet. All right, getting to round 4. Efficient tag is offered. I did take 1 tag on the range, but I felt like there could be more. So I took the efficient tag, so did my opponent. And I really need to deal with this flank here. I've added the Phantom Rays to deal with the steel balls. I added crawlers because he has no chaff clear. So the idea is we're going to clean this crawler and then we're going to get the Phantom Rays to kill the balls. I specifically put the crawlers like this instead of behind the Phantom Ray in fear of a missile in the near future. And my opponent went with high explosive wasps. This is something that I've seen more in the 301 server, the European servers. I know Aggro is a player named Aggro, and he's been using it to great effect. A lot of my friends been complaining about running into Aggro and not winning with the HE wasps. So I'm curious to see how this performs. In theory, if the wasps are within range, right? If this is like a headbutt situation, they're actually really good because they can clear a squad of crawlers faster than probably anything else. Maybe not as fast as like an 8-gun Wraith, but for a 200 unit, that's not too bad. And also they're flying, which means another layer of problems. My opponent started to add steel balls on the top as well, seeing how there's a big empty spot here. And also oil kind of preventing me from getting his tower. I added distraction crawler, knowing, again, probably no chaff clear on his side. Alright. The Phantom Rays, they're working away at these steel balls. And of course the Wasp with HE, they're not going to do very well into the Phantom Rays. Did get my steel tower now with the steel balls coming in from the north, but I do still have some Phantom Rays and also a Farseer, so if I can keep my Rays alive, maybe get tower, I should still have a pretty good round here. And the single Farseer is one of those units that is not fantastic into anything, but it has this huge advantage of being a 300 supply unit. So when it doesn't die, you're dealing with 300 damage to your opponent's health, which is kind of big. And Farseers don't tend to die; they tend to be the last unit surviving. All right, very quick second round of unit drops. Mustangs were offered. Immediately, that was the unit I was going to pick. None of the other units make sense. I did run anti-aircraft on my Tarantulas, but I feel like Mustangs is just a way better option, especially we have like steel balls and, you know, all these other units. Mustangs just pairs well into pretty much anything that has a lot of HP. I already have Sabertooth. I might be going Fort if the situation calls for it. Took range immediately to maximize their damage. Shield bubble here, mostly to just deal with the missile. My opponent finally got chaff clear in the form of these HE wasp. That should take care of those chaff just fine. Oil here just to slow down my opponent. So with the range, level 2 Mustangs can actually kill everything here unless he takes armor. The oil is going to provide a lot of that cover. The arc light does not have range, which means, yeah, this squad here is going to do a lot of work. Big Vulcan coming down from my opponent. Just to light up this fire is a very convenient choice. But yeah, I think it's pretty good, right? I do have some pretty heavy units, like the big sabers here. Got big arc lights, and also Farseer. So they have to work really hard to get rid of my units. His only damage output are these level 1 Phantom Rays and also the Phoenix, which gets picked up pretty early, I think, with these Farseers. Alright, here I'm going to slow this down. Just want to show you just how quickly these walls can potentially clear a squad of crawlers. And it's gone. Alright, not too bad. On the other side, the Mustangs, they're doing work. However, they're not really targeting steel balls, so I'm actually wasting a shield here for no good reason. I thought my crawlers would have survived a little bit longer to keep the steel balls at bay, but it seems that's not going to be the case. Mustangs here also doing a lot of work. The arc lights not hitting the right targets. The fire is okay. Can we get one more shot? Yes, we can. So now it just comes down to these Mustangs. I think there's a beautiful timing here somewhere where the Vulcan dies before it's able to ignite. Let's just see if we can get to that timing. These are level 2, so they are getting... oh, here's the dead Vulcan. We're getting the tower, and the Mustangs seal the deal. Sweet. All right, getting to round 6. So we know the Vulcans are on the board. We know that my opponent actually doesn't have a lot of good damage dealers. So especially on this side. On the other side, we got like some steel balls, but these are level 1 steel balls. So a super heavy armor is very enticing. Imagine dropping a fort with super heavy armor in front of this Vulcan. It would never kill it. This entire board would never kill it. And then your Mustangs would just mop up everything else. So very enticing stuff. About the fort. At level 2, we're going to slap the super heavy armor on it. 219,000 damage. Not too bad for a power spike. I got more crawlers here just to deal with whatever shenanigan my opponent is trying to do. And here I realized I messed up. I got 150 left over. I needed 2 shield bubbles because there's a missile at play. Both are very enticing. I think for my opponent, it's probably going to be this one. But this one is also enticing. It's the level 2 Mustang with item. So I was forced to just take a loan here and put down 2 shield bubbles. Like, I just cannot afford to lose either of these Mustangs. They're such critical piece in my defense on the side. As far as the offense goes, I'm not worried about this side at all. Like, the Vulcan was the key piece, but now it's being taken out of the equation by this fortress. Mustangs, Phantom Rays, Farseers, they'll mop up everything else, no problem. Alright, more steel balls coming in. I don't have a lot of damage here, so that is a little concerning. I did eventually get the shield bubble. The steel balls themselves are armored, which means they are a pain to deal with. Yeah, so this side on the far right, it's just, it folds, right? There's nothing to kill this. And like, they barely scratched the fortress. Alright, so losing pretty hard on the left, winning on the right. What can we do? I do expect my opponent probably just go harder into steel balls with range next turn. Mostly just to deal with this fortress. But the turn is not over yet. We do have Mustangs on the tower, which means there's going to be a crazy tower timing, and the fortress is able to just pick up every single one of these steel balls. And now with still some Mustangs left over, I think this should be pretty good. And remember, HE Mustangs, they don't do any damage to like these heavy armor units like Farseer. They are fantastic into Mustangs though. Alright. Pretty big damage here for my opponent, bringing him down to 1282. We got another core. I think that could be really good on a Mustang. So the armor steel ball wasp play is in full swing, and these are getting a little scary. I wasn't exactly sure what sort of unit that I want to use. I could go Scorpions, but then you could just take range. And Scorpions at this close of a distance is not actually that great. First of all, I took AA. Didn't want to take any chances with these wasps. Without AA, this wasp may actually contest the Mustangs, and because they have HE, they may actually kill the wasp faster than you can kill it. Alright, fire coming in from the Vulcan on both sides, clearing the way for the steel balls. He knows that I don't have a lot of stuff on the ground to deal with the steel balls, so he will have to just get rid of my chaff there. My choice for defense is going to be Phantom Rays. The reason I chose Phantom Rays is because the Mustangs themselves right now, they don't have AA, and also they have HE, which reduces damage by 30%. So they actually are doing very minimal damage to the Phantom Rays. Phantom Rays do decent damage into heavier targets. Just on its own, I can always take Stealth or even Burst, just to get even more damage out of that. I took Replicate on the Crawlers, thinking I'll just cause a bit more mayhem. Alright, on the right hand side, we do have some Steel Balls, but these are level 1 Steel Balls, and there's just no way for them to get to my fortress. The Phantom Rays are doing really well, and you can see the Wasp is trying to get through that Phantom Ray and it's taking forever. I don't think I have enough to clear, maybe. We'll have to see. We also have to see the targeting of these Mustangs, but I don't think they'll ever turn for the Wasps. But it doesn't matter. I mean, these are Steel Balls, and they kill Mustangs one at a time, so not too worried. Still got a lot of units left, and with that, that's actually going to be the end of the game here. Okay, so a pretty straightforward win in the end, but it was tricky to kind of get to that point. If you were to continue the game, I probably would have taken armor on the Phantom Rays, knowing that these Wasps do virtually nothing to armor Rays. And then I might just double down on the Rays. I mean, the Rays are a big issue for these Wasps, and they're also countering the Steel Balls. So it's kind of a weird dynamic. Like, when you see Wasp Steel Balls, you don't immediately think about Rays. You think about like Scorpions or, you know, maybe a multi-melter. But in this case, I feel like the Rays is the best option. It serves both the chaff purpose, protecting the Mustangs, and it also deals damage to the Steel Ball. So a weird combo, but works. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, here's another one for you, and I'll see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics, Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress, the battlefield's alive with swarms.